We come to you guys with some breaking wrestling news and speculation regarding CM Punk along with Paul Heyman, reportedly being removed from the OG Bloodline team for Survivor Series by the OTC Roman Reigns. Now, as many of you guys are likely aware, Roman Reigns was truly having a hard time this past week figuring out who would become their fifth member of the OG Bloodline for Survivor Series, as the stars the OG Bloodline reached out to. Specifically, Roman's former Shield brother, Seth Rollins, turned down the offers to join the team against Solo Sikoa's Bloodline, even after Seth's heated rival Bronson Reed joined the opposition's Bloodline. And Roman was truly out of answers when SmackDown came around this past Friday, especially considering Roman had been unable to get in contact with his wise men the week prior, which obviously took its toll on Roman. However, Paul Heyman would return completely out of nowhere, with Heyman revealing the fifth member of the OG Bloodline for Survivor Series, his former client CM Punk, something that caught Roman Reigns completely off guard. He never expected for Heyman to have even returned, let alone make the decision all by himself to announce CM Punk as the fifth member of the OG Bloodline, so Roman was quite literally stunned and left speechless on Friday Night SmackDown, unsure of how to process what had just happened. While you could argue that Roman seemed at least somewhat on board with the idea of CM Punk joining the OG Bloodline for Survivor Series, considering he didn't flat out reject the idea when Punk joined in the brawl between the two bloodlines, a breaking new backstage report has revealed that upon further consideration behind the scenes, Roman Reigns has decided to kick CM Punk and Paul Heyman out of the OG Bloodline for Survivor Series, with Roman Reigns reportedly realizing the hidden plan that CM Punk and Paul Heyman have up their sleeves, and Roman's not about to be fooled by it, with one of our insider sources sharing the following breaking new details regarding why Roman Reigns is changing his mind about CM Punk being a part of the OG Bloodline for Survivor Series, why that's been the case, and who would be replacing CM Punk on Team OG Bloodline for the upcoming pay-per-view, quote. The OTC Roman Reigns has had a lot to deal with and process the past week or so in WWE. It started off with Roman Reigns being extremely concerned that they wouldn't be able to find a suitable fifth man for the OG Bloodline team come Survivor Series, and Roman also wasn't able to get a hold of his wise man Paul Heyman, as his number was mysteriously disconnected. Just when things were getting to an insanely high stress point for Roman, out comes a returning Paul Heyman, who made no attempt to communicate with Roman whatsoever beforehand, and announcing that CM Punk would be joining Team OG Bloodline for Survivor Series with no counsel or conversation with Roman Reigns. Now, although Roman Reigns didn't flat out reject CM Punk joining the OG Bloodline for Survivor Series on SmackDown this week, it should be mentioned that Roman Reigns looked at CM Punk with very distrusting eyes as the show went off the air. And something that a lot of wrestling fans didn't pick up on is the fact that Roman Reigns never once made eye contact with Paul Heyman, who was staring very ominously at Roman when Punk and the OTC were having their face-off in the ring. It looked like Paul Heyman had ulterior motives with the smile he had on his face when he was staring down Roman from outside the ropes, who was unsure of what to make of CM Punk joining the OG Bloodline. While WWE officially announced that CM Punk would be joining Team OG Bloodline as the fifth member following SmackDown this past Friday, and making all the posters feature Punk in the match details, we have been told that, upon further consideration and talking with the rest of his OG Bloodline, the OTC has decided to remove CM Punk along with Paul Heyman from the Survivor Series match. WWE have yet to announce Roman's decision to remove Punk from the OG Bloodline versus New Bloodline match, but the consensus right now is that this will be brought to everyone's attention on the final SmackDown episode before Survivor Series this Friday, with Roman Reigns making his decision final. And the reason behind Roman Reigns removing CM Punk is quite intriguing to say the least. We have heard that Roman Reigns rewatched the segment of CM Punk joining his team at home after SmackDown this week because Roman simply felt off after the show went off the air, as he doesn't trust CM Punk or his supposed wiseman Paul Heyman anymore. The fact that Paul Heyman disconnected his phone to Roman and made no attempt to contact his apparent tribal chief all week, when Roman was in so much stress, came across as being very off to Roman. And then Heyman bringing back CM Punk as the fifth member for the OG Bloodline team without any discussion about it caused Roman to lose all the trust he had in Paul Heyman, as Roman and CM Punk are not on good terms whatsoever, and never have been. Hence why Roman refused to make any sort of eye contact with Paul Heyman this past Friday on SmackDown. After rewatching the segment at home, Roman Reigns was apparently able to pick up on the fact that Paul Heyman was looking at him in a very sinister way, and just has this gut feeling that Paul Heyman and CM Punk are in cahoots and planning a major betrayal. Roman Reigns just doesn't have a good feeling about Paul Heyman's return and Punk joining their team for Survivor Series, so Roman allegedly got in contact with the rest of his OG bloodline to discuss what the next move should be, with the other members also showing signs of distrust in Heyman, and especially CM Punk, so the decision was made and agreed upon to remove CM Punk and Paul Heyman from their Survivor Series team. Now, as far as who would be replacing CM Punk as the fifth member of the OG bloodline remains to be seen, but one source within WWE made it clear that it will likely end up being Seth Rollins, the superstar that most fans had initially expected to eventually join Team OG Bloodline after Bronson Reed joined the new Bloodline's team. Roman Reigns reportedly feels like Paul Heyman has already shown him that he's not on his side anymore after disconnecting his phone last week and being unable to get a hold of, because Roman knows that in the time that he's been unable to communicate with his wise man, Paul Heyman has instead been communicating with CM Punk for God knows how long and could be planning some kind of a devious plan. And because of the fact that Roman Reigns knows his OG bloodline need the victory at Survivor Series against the new bloodline, he refuses to risk their chances by having a guy in his team who he doesn't trust in CM Punk and a Wiseman that he also doesn't trust. Roman doesn't know if CM Punk and Paul Heyman are secretly working with Solo Sikoa's bloodline, or if Punk and Heyman have simply rekindled their alliance together, but either way, Roman Reigns wants no part of it, hence why he has apparently decided to remove CM Punk as the fifth member of the OG Bloodline Survivor Series team. We have heard that Roman Reigns would rather take his chances and go up against the new Bloodline at Survivor Series with just the four members that there were before Paul Heyman and CM Punk's return. Roman himself, of course, along with Sami Zayn, Jey Uso, and Jimmy Uso, as Roman just has the gut feeling that Paul Heyman and CM Punk would cost them the match and are planning some kind of a betrayal or moment that's not in the best interest of the OG Bloodline. It's safe to say that Roman Reigns' alliance with Paul Heyman officially ended following SmackDown this week, and no doubt we're headed in the direction of a Roman Reigns and CM Punk feud following Survivor Series War Games. Now let us know your thoughts on Roman Reigns reportedly deciding to remove CM Punk from the OG Bloodline team come Survivor Series due to the distrust Roman now has in Paul Heyman. Do you feel like Roman Reigns is making a smart decision here? And if CM Punk has really been kicked out of the OG Bloodline team for Survivor Series, who should replace Punk as the new fifth member? Should it be Seth Rollins or someone else entirely? Let us know. Well guys, that's it for today's major wrestling news. Make sure you leave a like and comment, and also make sure you subscribe to the channel with notifications turned on so you'll never miss out on an episode. Finally, if you haven't already, give us a follow on Twitter at TSE Wrestling, and we will see you guys in the next video.